Playing tricks on you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Epiphany and your host for Lust for Life show. And I'm your new best friend and psychologist. Yes, I am professional in my craft, and I'm here to help you for FREE. That's correct. And tonight's topic is self talk. So, from the song, My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, probably gave you a little hint of what we're going to talk about. And the subcategories of this conversation is going to be anxiety and depression and also manifestations and pushing through all of that because you are more than capable of doing so. So we're going to get into the topic of your beliefs this week. And if these are topics that you are interested in, go ahead and just go hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell for notifications on future episodes that you can get to help yourself. So let's dive all into it. And we're going to talk about how to be able to figure out if these thoughts that you're having are just forms of your patterns and your behavior and your traits, and are they actually conducive to your overall scheme of your goals in life. Because just face it, sometimes we have thoughts that are good and sometimes we have thoughts that are bad, and we need to be able to have control over those thoughts that we have in our mind and not to let them control us. So we're going to figure out how to manifest instead of just being suppressed and being depressed. How does that sound? So once again, I'm Epiphany, and this is your Lust for Life show. I am here for you to try to figure out and work with you on ways we can do things that will be best fit for you. So if you want to contact me individually for further counseling, you can just hit me up at lustforlifelv@consultant.com, or you can go on my website, lustforlifelv.com, or you can send me a message here through my channel, The Lust for Life, and we'd be able to work with you. So one of the techniques I feel is really good is writing down what you feel. And understand that today's society, people like to text things or use like an iPad or something like this. And that's fine. You can use that. You can use your phone to write down notes. But I feel that to ground situations, you want to use a journal to write out your thoughts and really become connected to them so you can get down to the root of the matter of what really is going on with you psychologically and emotionally. So you can get something that's small, but not too small, that you'll be able to carry with you in multiple places. You can take on a plane with you. You can take to a business meeting with you. You can take it out to like friends and put in your purse. Like most people, bags big enough, they can fit this in here easily. Or a briefcase if you're a gentleman, you can fit this easily. Or a book bag if you're a guy that's still in school. And be able to write down how you're feeling and what you're thinking. Because I think that, most people get caught up in that hyperbole situation. And hyperbole is basically exaggerated truth. We exaggerate what really happened and what is actually happening. Because we all have these certain triggers within ourselves, and we get triggered by certain things of our past that remind us of something that felt uncomfortable or unnatural or hurtful or traumatic. So it's best to just write down something that you've been feeling instead of trying to figure it out in a way that's going to be harmful for you and the parties involved. So we often have this situation where we're in defense mode. A lot of us feel like our brains is wired to have this fight or flight type of situation to where our adrenaline starts to rush and we feel like we have to do one or two things. And that's actually a primitive programming in us that is biological, that's here to help us, but sometimes can be hindering towards us if we're not noticing that sometimes there's no danger at all. The danger is created in our minds. So the mind is very powerful, and you have to be careful and be able to have an eye discernment to let you know if you're really in danger or not. So I feel like a lot of people who are struggling out there and don't know if it's that or if it's something of real danger, it's good to just write it down. For example, I'll even give you something personal for me. Last week, I had a perception that I was having a quote unquote bad day. Now, this bad day was more so in my mind than what it was in real life. So I invite you to get a piece of paper if you're having a bad day or you've had a bad day that you're still struggling with and pondering over, and write down two lists. Take two pieces of paper, and one piece of paper write down what happened. This is called the what happened exercise. And then we're going to write down how you felt. So how you feel on one side and what happened is going to be on the other side. Let's start off with how you feel first, because those emotions run deep and run strong like the ocean. So we want to get those out and don't want to have to bottle those up anymore, and just write down what you felt happened that day. Then decide to have a subjective point of view for what happened and write down literally events that took place. So I'll give you an example from me and what I did for myself. So I took down my journal and I just basically write it. So I woke up this morning, I had breakfast, got dressed, took a shower. Now this, of course, is not the emotional page. This is the what happened page. Took a shower, got chauffeured to the grocery store, was able to get the groceries I wanted for my dish, was able to get some additional things that was surprised that I didn't think I was going to get, was able to talk to someone that I love and known for a very long time, was able to get a surprise gift and invitation to a party, and I did my homework for my college program, the last one I have. So that's what happened. Now, what happened and how I felt that day was that I woke up. Someone was trying to intervene with my plans of the day. Someone does not appreciate my plans for the future. And I'm constantly getting fought against new ideas, and I'm not appreciated. Now, that's how I felt. But what actually happened and what I felt were two different things. I had to back up for a minute and think about what I actually experienced. And my experience was that I got everything I was supposed to do on my list for today done. No one really stifled me. Someone maybe had a disagreement with me and maybe interrupted my day, but nothing actually intervened and completely put my plans to a halt. The slight conversation or disagreement I had with an individual did not stop my plans. It just caused a temporary pause in them. That's it. That's what really happened. Your mind gets caught up in these extra conversations in your mind that prevent you from looking things objectively, and you get caught in the feelings of the event instead of the actual event. So I invite you to actually separate or train yourself to separate from what happened and how you feel happened, because those are two totally different things. I'll give you another example. I have a friend that I love dearly, but this particular friend deals with areas of paranoia, and she deals with anxiety really badly, and she deals with anger issues. These are things that she struggles with. I invited her out for a dinner, and it was an Ethiopian restaurant. So I'm American, and most Americans tend to feel completely out of place at certain restaurants like that when it comes to something completely non-traditional from what they're used to. So I already knew I was taking a gamble with certain people I was inviting, but I did anyway because that's just who I am. So she came, and I had other family members there and friends there. And it was a beautiful dinner, and everything actually went kind of well. I had one aunt that did some slight complaining about it, and she said she didn't really care for the food. She didn't think it was good, and I was surprised because I thought she would have been the one who liked the food more than anybody. So that was a surprise. But overall, it was not a big issue. So I get home later on that day and I see these alerts come up from my Facebook. And I see it's my friend just kind of ranting about how she felt disrespected at the dinner. Now, this took me completely off guard and completely off basis because the dinner, in my opinion, went smoothly. I didn't witness anybody getting in a fight or an argument. No cops were called. It was not a Desperate Housewives of Atlanta episode. It was a very cordial, nice, harmonious dinner for what happened that I saw. I only was absent from the table for maybe 10 minutes. So I did go up to the bathroom once, and something could have transpired in that time. So I actually called one of my aunts and I asked, like, what happened when I went to the bathroom? Because from what I saw, everybody was getting along. And she said nothing. Like, nothing happened when you went to the bathroom. Like, I must have missed something because why is she so mad? And she was going on Facebook about how, I do have class, and the reason why you might have felt that I didn't like the food was because I prefer to stay at home and cook. I'm a cook type of person. I'm not a go out into a restaurant type of person. And on and on. Like, she never stopped and thought that she was projecting her insecurities about the restaurant onto other people, because no one ever said anything to her about this is some place that's out of your league. She interpreted a comment about I don't like this type of food onto her, and she interpreted it as someone was trying to demean her and tell her that she didn't have any class or this type of restaurant is out of her league. But no one said that. The person who did the complaining about the meal was talking about themselves. But she was talking about herself. And her comment, my friend, for some reason, interpreted that comment to be, oh, she's talking about me. No, she's talking about herself. She felt uncomfortable herself. And she interpreted. And that's what I mean about what actually really happened and what you feel is happening. She got really paranoid, thinking people were judging her and basically putting her in a less of a classy category than that she desired to be looked at and perceived. So I think it's interesting how people get their insecurities really wound up in a bunch and they just spill them out onto other people because it was an insecurity of hers that she misinterpreted. That was all that happened. So needless to say, it was a big argument after the dinner than it was during the dinner. That actually was unjust because no one told her that the restaurant was out of her league. She felt that way internally and then projected that onto other people who were basically saying they felt that the restaurant was out of their league. So that's what you got to do. You have to really sit down with yourself and ask yourself about what happened and how you feel happens, because it's often two different things. Like, my aunt she was really upset about it because she was like, I did not mean that about her at all. I honestly were talking about myself. That was not my cup of tea. And she interpreted something else. I've seen people do this over and over again. I saw another friend do this recently where another person was feeling insecure about her weight and she made a fat joke. And she's overweight. She's overweight. She was talking about herself, but the other person, the mutual friend of ours, saw this comment and ran with it because she was insecure about her weight and she felt that it was like a indirect hit to her. But no, the person was just talking about themselves, how they gained weight over the years and how they feel about themselves. It had nothing to do with anybody else. But when you're feeling insecure, you take everything personal. When you're feeling insecure, you think everything is not about you. Some people might just be venting about how they feel about themselves, and it has nothing to do with you. But if you're so connected to how that emotion is, because it's all emotions, you're going to take it as if it's about you. So I invite you to, if you really say you're having a really bad day, stop for a minute and try to pull yourself away from the situation and ask yourself what really happened. not how you felt it happened. Write it completely out. Look at what good happened that day. Focus on that. And then you can see clearly that you might have took things a little bit out of context, that it might have just been bigger than what you thought. It was a hyperbole situation. So that is my tip for this week. I am your host, Epiphany, and I love you and I thank you. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me here, of course, on the channel. This is Lust for Life, and that's Lust for the number 4. Life LV is in Las Vegas, and we can talk further about issues of you having anxiety or depression and be able to overcome it and manifest things that you truly want. Because if something is not changing in your life, it might just because you're not changing. Things change in your environment when you decide to change. So, with that being said, I'm Epiphany, and it's been wonderful talking to you this afternoon. And I wish you guys the best and hope to hear from you soon. And remember to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell if you want further tips and tricks about how to overcome certain anxieties that you've been dealing with. Because you're better than that. You can overcome it. We thank you, we love you, and bye bye.